Dustin Wolf and the Flames suffer another defeat as Sam Honzek nets his first career NHL goal. Hey everyone, welcome into Hot Topics. Rob Wong, joined alongside by Postmedia Calgary Flames writers Wes Gilbertson and Danny Austin. And guys, a lot of the conversation surrounding Dustin Wolf right now is his workload to begin the season. He's appeared in 10 of the Flames' first 11 games. He's on pace to play around 75 games, which is some Martin Brodeur type stuff that we don't really see too much of these days. Danny, we'll start with you. The numbers for Wolf aren't great to begin the year. That's not all his fault, of course, but at what point is it too much for a guy whose career high in games played in pro hockey is 56?
Yeah, so I'll start with the caveat that I do think he's been better over the last sort of week and a half than he was for the first week and a half, 2 weeks of the season. But I'll also say flatly that I do think he's playing too much. And this may not be a discussion for long because the Flames have fallen so far out of the playoff race that there's not going to be really any point of grinding him down. But I think, frankly, that playing him the first 2 games of the season did affect his performance. And I don't know if it shook his confidence or what have you, but there was a drop-off in those early games. And I don't think he was stealing games. Like that's really what happened last year, was Dustin Wolf was capable of just playing so well that the Flames won games that they maybe shouldn't have won. That hasn't really happened. But I do expect him to slow down. I especially expect him to slow down if they don't start winning a lot of games very quickly. And I will also add the caveat that I do not think Dustin Wolf's performances have been the problem for the Calgary Flames this year.
Yeah, Rob, I think I winced when you said Dustin Wolf and the Calgary Flames lost another game, because while that is 110%, as you know, that's the maximum in hockey. While that is 110% accurate, Dustin Wolf has been the least of the Calgary Flames problems, and yet they absolutely have to be really cautious about overplaying him. And I say that for 2 reasons. Obviously, one is fatigue. He's already played close to 600 minutes of hockey in an NHL crease, and we're not even toward the end of October. But I think they have to be really cautious about frustration setting in too. Dustin Wolf, he's a fiery competitor, and when he doesn't get the results, it's really tough on him. And that's not me saying, well, don't play your starting goalie if you can't win the game, but I think you have to monitor how Dustin Wolf's feeling about himself, how he's feeling about his own game, and how frustrated he is by the fact that this is currently a last place team. And while I understand that Ryan Huska looks at his lineup every night and thinks, well, my best chance to win is with Dustin Wolf between the pipes, I think at some point they're going to have to sort of lay off. I mean, it's too much, and it's going to start to take its toll.
Yeah, that really would seem to be the case. And as you said, Wes, it's not all Dustin Wolf here. The losses that have piled up early on in the season, a large part of that, of course, has been the offense. But 11 goals in these last 3 games, it's trending upwards. You don't expect the Flames to continually score a goal a game the rest of the season. But nice to see Sam Honzek get on the board last night for his first career NHL goal. 9 games so far. What have you made of his season to begin the year?
Well, I think Sam Honzek has really been one of the bright spots of this Flames season. He, a year ago, he started the season in the NHL, looked a little overwhelmed. He was still a teenager at that point, and then put up, really kind of subpar stats in the minors. I think a lot of people were down on Sam Honzek's development. It wasn't a huge story when he was cut from training camp, but gets brought back up even before the season started due to injury, and he's really made the most of his opportunity. The big thing that I noticed with Sam, and I'll let Danny address his first goal in a minute because he was there to witness it, but I see a guy who's always had a power forward frame at 6'4" and over 200 pounds, but he looks to me like a guy who's figuring out how to use it, the sort of mentality that has to go along with it. And I think that's such an encouraging development for the Flames. If you look at his first assist the other night against the Winnipeg Jets, he wins a battle kind of along the wall all through the neutral zone. And that battle was against a guy named Jonathan Toews, who's done a thing or two at hockey's highest level. And so I just think I don't know if there was an aha moment, but that continued progression of a kid who doesn't even turn 21 for a couple more weeks is one of those positives in what's been a pretty frustrating fall for the Flames.
Yeah, like Sam Honzek's not going anywhere. I think Wes and I fully agree with that. He's very much earned his spot. And it's funny, like I fully agree. He's always been a big guy, but like speaking frankly, like he was quite skinny. And it's not like he's walking around with my beer belly after a month of playoff baseball right now, but he's packed on some muscle. He looks bigger. He's got a more intimidating frame. I don't expect him to be dropping the gloves, but it has made a difference. And ultimately, like, I was relieved that he scored last night, in part because him and Joel Farabee, who scored his first goal of the season, have been playing well. But when the team's won 2 of their first 11 games, it's a little hard to focus on the guys who are playing well but just not scoring. And Sam Honzek's had so many opportunities. He's had breakaways. He's hit posts. This goal was coming. And I think that him scoring, I don't know if it opens the floodgates, but it should take, if there is any pressure that he's feeling, off of him. And he's just so clearly a part of a big part of this team's future. I expect, like, it's only a matter of time before we're going to see Matt Vigridden up. I do think that we're going to see more of a focus on these young players getting opportunities. I guess other than Matt Coronado, who's just pulled out from the lineup, or was pulled out on Sunday. But Sam Honzek is one of the big stories of this season. It's such a relief because we were so high on him coming out of last year's training camp. And then it sort of last year felt like a little bit of a thud. And to see him contributing in so many different ways, getting on board, but also, he's playing on a line that is relied on for big defensive minutes. So he's doing everything. I've never been higher on Sam Honzek than I am right now.
Yeah, guys, just before we wrap here, can I just clarify something? Are we allowed to blame our beer bellies on the Blue Jays now? Is that fair game?
I mean, the game ended at 3 in the morning.
Those damn Blue Jays are killing me.
Yeah, there's got to be a cutoff time at some point when the game's at 3 a.m. But it's been a wild time for Blue Jays fans and observers, and it's been a tough time for the Flames to begin the year. But they'll look to keep the offensive side going against the team that has allowed the most goals. At least tied for the most goals allowed this year in the Ottawa Senators when they head to the nation's capital on Thursday night. As always, leave your thoughts in the comment section below. For Wes Gilbertson and Danny Austin, I'm Rob Wong. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you on the next one.